What's up, my friends? Welcome to Mcfarlands Corner. I'm Mike McFarland, the lakeshore guide and host of a lot of different things that we shoot here in the studio. And this is going to be something new that I'm bringing for 2025. It's going to be interviewing some of guides in the Northeast Texas North region. Also, some of our favorite guides and captains. In this case, this is one of my personal favorites, Mr. Captain Joe Shipley, who actually helps us out through the year with the Texas Insider Fishing Report on television. So we're really grateful to have him as a special guest today.
Yes, sir.
He is with Texas Frenzy Fishing. Really works out of the Dallas area, but he's definitely what's the word I want to say? You're not new to this game in Texas. No. This guy's a stud tournament fisherman, cashes checks, catches bass. He's fun. He's just one of them good Texas teddy bears. So again, I'm really glad to have him in the studio today. But listen, this is what we're going to discuss. We're going to start talking about North Texas lakes. Remember, in my members only reports that we're giving you other information now. We're expanding beyond just the world famous Lake Fork. We're doing Hubbard and Palestine and on and on. O.H. Ivy, Bodart. We're going to be bringing to you finally this year Texoma. And so these are the guys that I want to put in front of you now. Instead of just hearing me report some of their stuff, I'm going to let them tell you what they're doing. And hopefully you'll like that and maybe even go fish with this guy, because I want to go fish with this guy, right? When you're done with this show, you're going to want to go fish with this guy. So, Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, you were born and raised here in Texas?
Oh, yes, sir. I was born in Rowlett, Texas.
Rowlett.
I've been fishing Hubbard since I could walk.
Wow. So
yes,
you've
sir.
seen so many things change, kind of like me on the West Coast.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I get that. It's an amazing thing. I'll share something that my dad said to me. When I first moved here 11 years ago, I was stumbling a bit. And I called up my dad and I said, Dad, I think I made the biggest mistake of my life. I've been here 6 months and I'm really struggling. My dad said, well, why did you do so good on the West Coast? I said, well, because I had 40-something years of experience. And he said, yeah, exactly. Give it more time.
Correct.
So I'm giving you credit. You've been here that long. I learned a lot in 11 years. I can only imagine what you've seen come go.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you've seen Hubbard in his prime. And I remember when I was a kid, it used to be big Bassmaster used to come there, Ricky Clone. And,
yeah.
So tell us some of that stuff. I mean, what should someone expect from Hubbard this time of year, any time of year? It's kind of falling off the map. You don't hear about it.
Yeah, they've worked hard to keep it off the map, the old timers. They don't share a bunch. But Hubbard is, I tell my customers, Hubbard is just as good as Fork. Number for number, size for size. We have just as many fish on Hubbard as on Fork.
Now, Hubbard's bigger than Fork, correct? Overall, it's a big lake. Is it difficult to run? Is it something that somebody should no doubt hire a guide to learn how to run it first? Or they just go out and, go ahead and give it? Obviously, a guide showing you the ropes is going to get you on a fish.
Correct.
But Fork, you just don't come run Fork. Could you go fish Hubbard and you're all right?
You can. As long as you stay south of 30, you can run anywhere you want to go. You get north of 30 on Rowlett or Garland side, then yes, it gets pretty.
You need to know something. You need to know what you're doing, have your lanes and things just like you would in a lot of Texas lakes. Same thing, Sam River.
Correct.
Is there a chip or anything anyone can get for Hubbard?
There is a chip. It's the I can't think of it now.
There's a chip.
Yeah, there's a chip.
Good.
I have it in my graph, and if you want to go to the river, yeah, you might want to book a guide first because that's.
And I would anyways. That's the whole point of having Joe here. This video is going to be public, but eventually here I'm going to actually drive it to my members only, go private.
Correct.
And that way we can hit those 350 members with some good stuff.
Oh,
Give them the meat potatoes. So we don't want everybody, sometimes in the fishing, we don't want everybody,
No.
we don't want the whole world to run to Hubbard like they did to O.H. Ivy.
Correct.
Okay. So what should somebody expect? What's your details of like your half-day trip, your full-day trip? What's a day with Joe at Hubbard?
Man, on Hubbard, Hubbard's my favorite lake. So a half a day I do about 6 hours. On a full day I'll do 9, 10. If we're catching them, we'll stay out till the sun goes down.
Yeah.
I love every chance I get on Hubbard. I love Fork too, but Hubbard, this right here, all you need. Don't put it down.
That's why I put that out for you. I mean, he talks about it all year long. He's always catching fish from shaky heads. Throws a lot in the mix. You've taught us a lot about other baits to use at different times. You talk about the finesse jig.
Oh yeah.
But I can't tell you how many times your report's awesome when you say, leave everything at home, just bring a shaky head.
That's it.
And then I see you catching fish. I hear the reports. I see the pictures. We're not just talking 8, 10 fish a session.
No. No, it's nothing to go to Hubbard and catch 20, 30 fish a day.
I mean, and that's really good fishing.
Oh, yeah.
We don't do that at Fork. I'm
No.
sorry. We have our days, and some of them are spectacular with that many big fish, giant fish. But, that's why I'm bringing this to the light. I'm bringing Joe to the light. I'd like you guys to consider checking out Ray Hubbard in the first place, spark it up a little bit on the map, and check out Joe because he can show you some really cool things there. And remember to follow us through the year on our reports because we're going to talk about the basic stuff that you can go do on Hubbard to catch fish. Now, I also know, before we break into a quick sponsor break and stuff, I also know that there's hybrids in Hubbard, right? So does that, like Tawakoni, does that change Hubbard?
No, it doesn't. Like on Tawakoni, the bass stay in the mud.
In the mud shallow.
Because of Hubbard, because the big hybrids. On Hubbard, they do not, no.
That's interesting. So they do use structure. They act like bass.
Correct.
That's really cool. It's funny to go to Tawakoni in the weirdest time of years, no matter what you're fishing in the mud.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not always happy bass. They're stuck there because of that hybrid source on the striper source. So it's good to know they're not that way.
The fun thing about Hubbard is on Hubbard, unlike Fork, unlike Tawakoni, we have many marinas. So 90% of our fishing is marinas, riprap in marinas, structures in marinas. We spend most of our day and we don't leave marinas. We go from marina to marina to marina.
Which the first thing in my mind, first thing that popped in my mind was with the nasty Texas changing weather that we have, that would be a gift to be able to almost always be in a sheltered, marina. You don't have to be out there in 4, 5, 6 foot waves. Nope. And so keep that in mind too. Give it a try. And you said the shaky hit some of your favorites. What's your biggest bass from Hubbard?
My biggest bass from Hubbard is the 10-2.
10-2.
I only have one, but.
Hey, it's a big lake, and look, I've known, sometimes with big fish fishing, I've known men that have fished their whole life for it specifically and still never caught it. Right. And I have young, lucky people that don't even know how to fish, catch 2 in one day with me on tour. So big fish, there's some luck variable.
I'll tell you this, though. You can go any way in any tournament with Hubbard, and it's going to take you 25 to catch a check, 30 to win. And that's what there's a double-digit weight in almost every tournament in the spring. And every summertime it slows down, but it's big.
Think about that. You think about the pros, most of the time they're talking a 14, 15 pound for 5 fish a day. If they put a 3 to 5 pounder in the boat, they're springing big and big and big. Yeah. So here's, again, if BA, what you're saying is if BAS Elite came to the Hubbard, we should probably expect some century bells.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
100-pound range. That seems to be the source of Northeast Texas. I think that's the bass that they've grown here. They've done so well that everything is bigger in Texas.
Well, I'll give you a comparison. Tuesday night tournament starts at 6, weigh-ins at 9:30. And we bring in 25, 30-pound sacks in 4 hours.
In 4 hours.
In an evening
regularly.
Yeah, every week.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Like 2 weeks ago, when the first cold snap hit, it was 40, 44. It took 31 pounds to win that.
31
pounds. With the cold front.
So that's when we brag about. We talk about the dirty 30 on Fork. When you hit the dirty 30, man, we're going, woohoo, Fork's amazing. So look, guys, Hubbard right there at your front doorstep. If you're living in Dallas, Fort Worth, Dallas, if you're in that area, don't be afraid of Hubbard. Check it out, okay? Check out Joe. We'll talk about how you can get with Joe later. Real quick, I want to break away into a sponsor. I want to give just a little plug to one of my sponsors, really all the sponsors that support the channel and everything. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And this year we got a really big campaign for 2025. But right now I wanted to ask you, and if you've ever heard of the Magic Reaction by Real Time Rods.
Oh yeah, I use it.
Yeah.
I live by it.
I love it. Perfect reaction. That was not staged. It was planned. It was in my notes to ask him what he thought. But guys, Real Time Rods Magic Reaction on your soft plastics. Okay, not your hard baits, but your soft plastics. They do have a chapstick you can put on your hard baits. And the next thing I think we're going to work on is getting something in that chapstick that helps the reflection for live scope fishing. Right. If we can have that juice, we got that juice that just catches fish. It guaranteed catches fish. We incorporate some of that live scoping stuff in there. I'm off and running. So Real Time Rods, Magic Reaction. Thanks for all the support they give us. Check them out. Tell them McFarland sent you. All right. Hubbard is awesome, but listen, this time of year, 25 pounds sounds insane. 5 pounders at Hubbard, but the damage that can happen on Fork in December, January at night can be more like 40, 50, 60 pounds, right?
Oh, yeah. My first double digit come on Fork 2020, February 4th. It was 32 degrees outside.
Yeah.
And I caught my first 10. It was 2:30 in the morning. And after that, I caught 7 more.
That's what we're going to segue into now, guys. We're going to talk about night fishing on Fork. I don't do it, but I got a specialist here that does it. He's really got a lot of homework out there. And I can tell you, as of 2022, where the lake was down 9 feet, there's over 240 sets of lights out there. How many times have you heard me talk about bedrooms and kitchens? Big bass live somewhere and eat somewhere else. And they live in the trees. They're safe, like deer hiding in the woods, and they come to the feeders to feed. Right. This is really the new Lake Fork. The daytime 40-pound sack is coming 1 in every 100 guys in the spring. Right now, the nighttime guys that know that can do that 30 to 40 pounds every night.
Yep, the colder it gets, the better it gets.
I was here 10 years ago. This is my 12th year, but I blew my mind that, like you said, coldest night of the year, breaking ice off your ice lets. It's 32 degrees. It's January 3rd, and you're smashing big bass at 2 o'clock in the morning on these night lights. And we're talking double-digit fish.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us about that. What should people expect? You're offering those trips now for the next 2 months. That's the trip to be on. Yep. Go to Hubbard, have some fun. You want to get your arm ripped off, catch fish at a lifetime, come to Fork and do the night thing.
That's right.
What are we talking on the night thing?
Now on the night time, I really do a full trip, because it takes a little time to move around.
Yeah. So you only do the full day, full night. Yeah.
So we normally start about 6 and fish till, pretty much till they're ready. But at night, it's not nothing to catch 15, 16 fish a night, but 10 of them over, 6 pounds, 7 pounds, 8 pounds. So I mean,
I'd never believe it.
And believe it or not, this is it. This is the one. This is it. That's all we throw.
Well, I'm gonna tell you,
June bug.
I've gotten too old for night fishing. My eyes are really bad in the nighttime. But I've actually burnt myself out on night fishing. In Arizona, it got so hot that we would fish summer leads.
Oh yeah, at night.
And we'd fish all night. It'd be 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. We'd weigh in at midnight, 2 weigh-in rounds, 10 fish. It was like a Saturday, Sunday tournament, but all in one night.
Correct.
And I mean, you literally see the sun set and then see the sun rise, and I just can't do it anymore.
So that's what taught me the green lights was on Hubbard. Years ago, like you said, it got so hot we couldn't fish days, so we fished nights. And I didn't have a clue how to catch a fish at night. I'd always fished days with my dad. So I went out and I found a green light. I picked up a crankbait, 3, 4, 5 fish. So I was like, man, that's it. Next green light. So I got to World Night Tournaments. It get dark at 6:30. Or wait, it get dark at 7. You got, till 9. So I'd have 2 pounds in the boat, go to the green light. Drop
Till
20,
the green lights.
25. Oh,
in
yeah.
minutes.
I'd wait for the green lights.
Especially when the timing's right.
Oh, yeah. I would literally wait for the green lights and just...
Yeah. It's huge, guys. It's massive. I've been talking with the biologist, Jake Norman, about why the daytime fishing has gone less and less and less in Fork. It's getting tougher and tougher to catch them. Well, there's more and more night lights. There's 240 night lights. So get this. In 2022, there were no night lights in the lake. There was only 2 night lights that were in the water, and they were in Gale Creek. Yep. And I can't remember the famous Bassin gal, beautiful lady, Bassin gal lived in there, and she told us about one night in a foot of water, even with the green light, she was smashing a big fish. But my point of sharing here is in 2022, there were no green lights to fish. I had 149 bass over 8 pounds in my boat in 2022. Water came back up in 2023, 240 sets of night lights, and I didn't break a half a dozen double-digit fish, let alone 149 bass over 8 pounds. So the reason why is not feeding during the day.
That's it.
I wouldn't. I'd go chew at the lights. It's simple, congregated bait, pound the bait, and go sleep in the tree, stay away from the boats.
When I got here in 2022, I couldn't compete with the day guys. So I focused my life on nights. And when it was hot and everybody was coming in 2, 3 fish, I was going out at 8 o'clock and we'd catch 20, 25 fish.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I focused
I've seen it. It's frustrating to me because I just don't think I can ever do a night thing. But I do know that the Mother Fork is still full of fish. And the night deal is where you will see more of the, people talk about the old days, really smashing a bunch of big 5, 6 pounders. And that's just because they're feeding at night. That's really the main reason. A handful of stuff has changed for it, but that's one of the biggest, the night lights and the nocturnalization of our big fish. Another thing that just popped in my mind, Fork, everybody talks about vegetation and all that. I don't think, if you brought all the vegetation right now, I don't think that would change much either. There are too many night lights. They're conditioned to go to those night lights.
Well, what I learned over this was they become residents. They live there during the day. They slide under them docks, but they don't want to eat. As soon as the sun comes down, they'll slide out and eat. And I've learned that it's any light, green lights, white lights, super lights, anything pulsating in the water.
Right. Anything that'll draw some warmth can draw bait.
Warmth and bait.
Yeah. And it can be the most minor amount of warmth.
What I figured was the way it works, the bass are on the bottom of the shadows. The crappie and sand bass are on the column, and the bait's on the top. The crappie and sand bass are eating the bait, and the bass are eating the big. So you catch a 4-pounder at night that goes 6 pounds because the belly's just...
Because they're not eating the shad, they're eating the brim of the crappie. Yeah, it's a chain. It's a beautiful... When we were a child in elementary school, you were taught about a little fish and a bigger fish and a bigger fish, and the shark was the one at the end. The bass is the shark. The bass is the mean guy.
You're catching a double digit that's going 19 inches.
You know, right now, if I was fishing in the daytime, I'd go fish the creeks with jigs and stuff like that, hit the wood. Also good baits on the night lights. I would be throwing square bills, rattle traps, things like that. I'd probably live scope the trees during the day with the jerk baits and the Alabama rig, and I'd go out there and work my butt off for a handful of bites. And Joe would bring one bait and go fish the right night lights.
That's it.
And post and wear them out. So.
Well, that's the difference between Hubbard and Fork. You can talk about different. Hubbard right now we're catching on spinner baits, but we don't have the water caught, the creek bends and all that.
It's a different length. They are different. You know, some people think you're only 100 miles apart or whatever. Why would they be that different? I'm telling you, I got a pond right here. Most of the time, my pond will fish like Fork, but my pond feeds Fork. When my pond overflows, it goes right into Fork, and I got Fork bass and their babies that I put in, and they don't act the same. Yeah. And I cannot catch a single fish on Fork. Come to have a bad day, bad weather, northeast winds, no fish on Fork. Come to my pond, throw a sink, I'll catch 10.
I've had a lot of guys coming frustrated. Come out, I can't do it. And they'll call me, but man, what's the problem? They're throwing spinner baits and crank baits and chatter baits and Alabama rigs or live scoping the green lights. And I'm like, look, what I do is throw it out and let it set, hold it, watch the boat.
Let it just, watch your boat. Watch your boat.
When it bounces one time, like a brim bite,
they got
that's a big girl.
It's a big one.
But you don't move it there because they're down there just sitting.
So
they're not eating. They're just sitting.
I put this up because this is what I use in the shell beds. This is for the last 3 years, this has caught the biggest fish of the year for me. Yeah. And it's, it's got the flat stand up. Yeah. I use it dragging uphill in the shell bed, so it's really staying. But it's the same thing. You just said it. If I get a dunk, we don't know what we're getting. Maybe a 1 pounder, 4 pounder. We just get one peck and it just disappears. But you just see your bow and your line go thunk. It's big fish, big fish.
That's what people know. You don't have to work hard. You just let it work for you.
Yeah,
just let it
it's an easy,
it's
do nothing
like fishing for big bass.
And especially if you put the real time rod magic reaction on it. So all right, so they can go on an experience during the daytime and catch fish, catch good fish on Hubbard. Do you anything night on Hubbard at all?
Yeah. We fish Hubbard at night just like we do Fork. We got a bunch of green lights. We got some, and the cool thing is the marinas are all lit up. I've caught more over 6 at night. In summertime than I do during the day because they eat just as good at night.
And we've known that we've known that before. We talked about night lights. Big bass or nocturnal big bass feed at night. A lot of the biggest fish, a lot of the biggest records, walleyes and those predators, they just feed at night. It's just how it is.
Well, in Hubbard we have a bunch of lights, so it's easier for customers because
marinas are always harbor big fish.
Correct.
So I can take you to the California Delta, and the California Delta fishes really well. We're the biggest fish in the marinas.
I've heard stories.
Yeah, it's incredible. There used to be hundreds of 10-pounders till the seals lines got in there. Seal lines.
So if they want a night trip on Hubbard, we can do the same. We catch the same big fish. We just fish more marinas, so it's more lit up. And the cool about Hubbard is you have the amenities you need right there. We have the harbor with restaurants. We have the marinas with the nice bathrooms, the nice restrooms. I can drive you right to the bathroom.
I missed that. I missed it. We had on some of the lakes on the West Coast, we had high dollar restaurants at Dillon's Barbecue. We really missed that here, and that's all Sabine's fault. Sabine won't let none of that stuff happen, and it's a shame. By the way, just some news if you didn't know that Sabine board, they quashed that whole deal of removing all the mini homes, which would have destroyed they would have destroyed everything. It would destroy the community. They passed a grandfather clause, so they're not kicking everybody out. There will be no more, but thank God they're not kicking everybody out. So, all right, well, listen, this was really good, man. I want to go fishing with you at night, so I am going to go with you, if you will take me.
Of course.
And, of course, that way I don't have to worry about seeing or doing anything. I'm just going to go along and hopefully catch some fish. I recommend that you guys try this with him. Please, give him a call, and how can they find you?
You can find me on Google. It's txfishingfrenzy.com is my website. Or you can go to Facebook. It's Texas Fishing Frenzy Guide Service. Or you can call me, 972-551-9246.
And look, you can always get through to me too, 602-826-1524. Private message me, whatever, if you don't want the public to see here. This is going to go into the public. So, guys, if you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and we'll make sure Joe or I gets back to you. Hit the like button if you found this good. And man, we're really just grateful for Joe being here in the
Oh,
holidays.
yeah, I'm glad you brought me.
And you guys and all the subscription base and like I said, 2025 is going to be interesting. I got a few things still that I haven't announced that it's coming for McFarland Fishing and when I came to Lake Fork years ago, I wanted McFarland Fishing because I was a universal. I was not specific to Lake Fork. So that's why, if you wonder why I have two entities, McFarland Fishing, this is McFarland Fishing. We're universal. We may go to Florida and talk about snook fishing. We may go to Montana and talk about brown trout fishing. I had to do the Lake Fork guide to compete with this area, so we try to have the two together. But anyways, McFarland Fishing, thanks you guys for everything, for your following, and just being my friend.
Oh, yeah.
All right, wish y'all great fishing.